so I agree with Nuala. And I do. I mean, it's a great time to be involved. It's exciting. It's the policy debate is very, very interesting. I completely agree that, it's not going anywhere, and it shouldn't go anywhere. It made sense. It's not, to me, it's not at all coincidental that it became a big issue in the United States, birth of the Privacy Act, and sort of the first loosely defined privacy officers at that time, right around the time that computers were born and became widely used. They were more the mainframe style of things, but the more that happens and the more data about people becomes more of a commodity, more of a thing that moves back and forth and becomes more of a value, at the same time, trust becomes more and more important. And whether you're a business, a government agency, a nonprofit organization, or anything else, trust is everything. You can't function if you can't be trusted. And the more you are trusted, the more valuable things are to you. So that increases the value of your brand in your case, or increases what the agencies people trust and want to work with them. For example, maybe that agency can help me develop a business. I don't know. I can trust them and I can ask them, or maybe they feel safe applying because they know that they can trust you. Those types of things are vital to success, and the more that closely ties with mission integration from whatever entity you're coming from, it will always be. The more and more that seems to be happening, and I don't see that trend stopping, the more it will be so CPO role, whatever it may be called, or integrated will continue to be there. Good question.
I think there's nothing but upside to people in the privacy profession. I will say that when I first started dabbling in privacy, I thought, oh, I'll just do this for a while. And at one point I had an epiphany that actually this is important, that not only does it appeal to me just sort of intellectually, but that it struck me that privacy is really just one of those things that if society doesn't get it right, it's a gigantic problem. I believe the same thing about history, actually, that it's part of being a good citizen to understand the pertinent history of where you live. And I think it's part of being a good citizen to sort of understand privacy, your privacy rights, how to manage your own data, and to be able to ask questions of companies and government about how they're actually treating your data. I'll tell you, I've talked to a lot of people at this conference, and a lot of people are in despair about how you're going to motivate citizens to care about this. And so that's a problem. And then how do you motivate citizens to question companies and governments and all that? And how do you motivate employees then? Is sort of my immediate concern. So as I think about that and sort of the challenges of working privacy into the culture, that's why I stay.
You're on the spot, and it's time for you guys to turn the tables on us. Question?
Hi. A few years back when privacy was growing within the government, a lot of the problem was working with the IT side of your agencies. How has that grown in your agencies since you began working? Is it working better than it used to, or do you find you're trying to do policies and you're just not able to implement them from that side of the world?
I think that's an excellent question, and we are seeing more and more collaboration at DHS, where we now go to sit in with the CIO on their regular meetings. They're interested in coming to our meetings and having the two really intertwined at certain points in the compliance process, because they're the technology side and the privacy side, compliance side are very closely linked, and I continue to see that they're going to be more closely linked. That's my short answer.
Sort of, my experience was, it's funny, I'm going to steal a line from one of my privacy friends. It's Kirsten Mercado from the Department of Justice. She's like, privacy officers all speak privacy, and IT folks all speak geek. But she goes, but the funny thing is that it's all still English, and it's important that you find that based on communication. I think as time has gone on, and I think you've probably noticed this outside the government, as much as you've noticed it inside the government, people are starting to communicate better, and that baseline understanding, sort of that ramp-up period starting to go away, and the processes are becoming more and more seamless. So I'm new to commerce. They totally different architecture, totally different data systems, whatever. But I've learned over time how to find the key issues that I need to understand, how to learn to communicate with the CIO. The very first person, even before I met with my own new boss the day that I started, the first person I met with was our CIO, the very first person. He's great. He and I are already teaming up and partnering on hundreds of projects. I also sit on his regular meetings and vice versa. We just immediately became seamless partners on a lot of these activities, and I just see that trend becoming better and better in terms of smooth integration. And I imagine that you all in the private sector might be very different for you at a technology company.
Well, I'm not sure that it is. There's just a couple of quick observations. One, I think you're quite right. Go see the CIO or the CTO. Those relationships are really vital. And I can think of times when we've had a great relationship with the CTO, and it worked great for a few years, and then that kind of leaves, and then you have to reinvent it. But the backstop to that, if you don't have that kind of relationship, is you're building coalitions. There are people within the organization who are going to be your buddy too. And what I have observed is that within our organization, and I believe this is within any organization, there are a lot of people who desperately care about privacy and would love to do the right thing if somebody would just tell them what the right thing is. And then there's another cadre of people who would think about privacy, but haven't thought enough about how being good on privacy can really unlock value in what they're doing, and that there's a business upside to it too. And so that's sort of the new frontier. So the challenge is that a lot of the privacy guidance is gray, and what this audience, the technology audience, needs is black and white. Just tell them what they can do and what they can't do. So if you can translate the gray into sort of black and white guidelines that they can work with, that forges a good relationship that gets you where you need to go.
I just want to chime in because this is part of my passion at the company as well. And in fact, like you, when I interviewed for my job, I reported to the general counsel of the company, but the only other senior executive I interviewed with was our CIO, whom I immediately adored, and it turned out I went to the same public high school on Long Island. He was 20 years ahead of me, but we immediately bonded, and that lasted the entire time he was at the company, and that was a delight. But you're absolutely right, and he did leave, and I was heartbroken. But by then I had deep kind of expertise within his function, and I knew that was a good thing, because I don't have a headcount. For some reason, legal doesn't have a headcount, but IT has unlimited resources, it seems to me lately. And when one of their leaders called me not too long ago, like a year or two ago, and said, would you be annoyed if I hired somebody that with the title privacy analyst for our new tech center? I'm like, annoyed? Are you out of your mind? Give me 5. Go hire as many as you want. Because the more people who care about this issue, wherever they are placed in the organization, will inure in my team's benefit, obviously, but to the bottom line of the company and to our mission. So it's an indispensable alliance with the IT team, which is funny because when I started at the company, everyone thought HR would be my biggest, kind of client base or team. They have such good processes and they're so locked down, and it's not that they're not doing anything innovative, it's just that we know what we're doing in HR. There's always something new in IT that's happening or some new initiative that needs scrubbed and scrutinized. And the joke I always say is any Star Trek fans in the audience, I'm definitely I feel like I'm the Deanna Troi, right? They come to me and they say, how do you feel if we do this? So I feel a little bit kind of the conscious. I'm the more, so back to kind of coming full circle to our original question, I definitely pushed hard on the ombuds or the external advocate voice in the government. Where I sit now, I feel like everyone is well-intentioned and needs some guidance, and I'm this internal sounding board. And if that helps, the company or the organization stay out of the headlines because they don't screw it up, they think about the hard questions inside, then I do feel like I've done my job. But it is a lot of fun just kind of, I do feel a little bit like the old fogey and sit back on my rocking chair and say, well, let me tell you back in the day when I was a double click how we didn't do it right then, or whatever. And it's a lot of fun. It's a